And what is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Renegade Roundtable podcast here on Revolution Radio. I am Jeffrey Kirby. As you can see, we are riding solo tonight, and holy hell, we have some stuff we got to get into. How long the show's going to be tonight, that's just going to be based on just how long we get through everything. I'm not promising a full hour tonight. We'll see. But we do have some stuff that we do need to get into as well. We got, obviously, the Steelers are still on Honey Badger alert. We're going to discuss why the hell he needs to come to Pittsburgh. We're going to discuss, should the Steelers legitimately take a shot and move up in the draft? That very well could be a possibility. Maybe should they? Should they not? Is the Steelers QB situation possibly better than Cleveland? That's a discussion that got brought up earlier in the week, and it's an interesting discussion that we can have, and the Baltimore Ravens owner is now mad. And, well, they also didn't get Bobby Wagner, so that just makes things a whole lot better. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to get started here. I'm going to move this down real quick, get the volume going. There we go. Now we're rolling. I do want to talk real quick about Tyrann Mathieu. And this is the beginning part of what I want to talk about. And as you see by the title of this video, again, second week in a row, the Pittsburgh Steelers are on Honey Badger watch. They are on Tyrann Mathieu watch. And obviously, within the last, I think like half hour ago or something, it was a report that Steelers re-signed Carl Joseph to a one-year deal. Again, that doesn't really mean anything. He spent most of the year last year on a practice squad. So I'm not really too worried about that. In terms of, is this going to affect them bringing in Tyrann Mathieu? No, that's not the case at all. But, and so I've been seeing both sides to everything. I've been trying to pay attention to how the fans are thinking about Tyrann Mathieu and whether they should bring him in or not, and why they should bring him in or why not. So, here's my thing. And the people are saying, you don't understand the cap situation and blah, blah, blah. Well, obviously, you have to put a little bit of aside for, obviously, the draft. We all get that. We understand that. But here's the thing. When you're talking about Tyrann Mathieu, who's been one of the better safeties in the NFL, and I'm just saying this right now, he makes this defense that much better. Playing alongside one of the best safeties already in football in Minkah Fitzpatrick. You have an outside linebacker, pass rusher, in TJ Watt, who is going to... He just tied the record for most sacks last year and Defensive Player of the Year. You have Cam Hayward, who has been nothing short of consistent and underrated as hell, honestly. You bring in Miles Jack. You know for a fact Tyson Alualu is coming back, and you would like to bring back Stephon Tuitt. You have Alex Highsmith, who is going to take another jump in year 3, which I'm very excited for. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to make your defense that much better? You know he's very smart. You know him... Pairing Tyrann Mathieu and Minkah Fitzpatrick back there together, A, is just one intelligent-ass safety room, and B, again, both guys you could trust to play in the run game as well. Why the hell not? You bring in Levi Wallace as well to help out with the corners. You re-sign Ahkello Witherspoon, which finally came official, because there were questions about whether it was actually official or not. Well, that's now official. And obviously, and another thing too that I have heard, it's kind of annoying. And it's a trend that we're starting to not see now when it comes to the Steelers. Oh, they don't like to give players contracts after the, that far out of their first contract. Okay, what did they just do with Joe Hayden a few years ago? He was way out of his first contract. Brought him in. And what did he do for us? It's pretty damn good for us for a few years. Sucks that he's most likely gone. But, hey, for what he gave us, thank you, I salute you, thank you, Joe Hayden. And then you say, okay, well, they don't really spend much in, what's up, Muhammad? They don't spend much in free agency. Well, what did they just do this year? They made some splashes. They have now a professional offensive line. They went out, spent their needs on that. Yes, it sucks that Juju's gone or whatever. Cool, whatever. But you go out and you actually spend a little bit, which is very uncharacteristic. They, in 2019, traded up in the draft. That was very, very uncharacteristic for them. And then on top of that, they're supposed to, oh, we don't trade first-round picks. We treat them like it's absolute gold. Well, what do you do in 2019? You get Minkah Fitzpatrick, who pretty much falls in your lap. You trade that first-round pick, and now you have one of the best safeties in the NFL. So they've done things kind of uncharacteristically. The Steel Honey Badger. You damn right. What's good? How you doing? Listen, that would be the Steel Honey Badger. That sounds beautiful. Now doesn't that? Be proud of yourself for that. That sounds beautiful. And what's up? How you doing today? And let me know. I'm assuming you are very high on Tyrann Mathieu signing. I'm going to very well from that comment make that assumption here. And if you want to give me reasons on why we should, go ahead. Obviously, I got the chat right here in front of me, so I'm paying attention, and it's gonna be we're gonna have a little discussion here about everything that's going on. So yeah, it's me, Tyler. What's up, Tyler? How you doing? But yeah, for me, I just now if you don't get him. If he just chooses to not come here, or if he goes somewhere else, is it the end-all, be-all? No. On the deep, deep downside of me, do I believe we're going to get him? It's probably a long shot. And, again, now long shots do happen in the NFL. I mean, hell, we just saw it with one of our AFC North rivals with Cleveland. They thought it was a long shot to get Deshaun Watson, which we're actually going to get to here in a little bit, and I'll explain why we're going to talk about that. And that involves another AFC North team's owner, and why he is very pissed off. So we're just having a great time with that. But is it the end-all, be-all? No. Now, does that maybe possibly make it more of an option of a position of need to draft at 20 if you're deciding to not go quarterback? Then yeah, maybe. Is there a guy in the second round that you could try to get, or the third round that you could get that you truly believe that could be a diamond in the rough? We'll see. I trust our scouting report, or our scouting team for the most part. I mean, especially in the later rounds, I believe they found some gems. I mean, look, they had Alex Highsmith. They drafted him in what round, and he's become kind of a diamond in the rough. Dan Moore was a mid-round pick last year, and he's looked pretty okay at left tackle. Yeah, it's not like Tyrann Mathieu mentioned Tomlin for no reason. There you go again, too. When you have Tyrann Mathieu mentioning that they've called, and you mentioned Mike Tomlin, hey, that might say something. Hey, so I'm very... Am I going to be, again, will I be very upset? Yes, I would. Especially if he were to somehow go to an AFC North. I don't think that's going to happen, but again, that's why I'm very happy Bobby Wagner is not in Baltimore. He's actually in the NFC West, all the complete on the opposite side of the country from where I am, in LA. But, again, it's a possibility now of a position of need that you could look for in the draft. And we'll see what happens. But I just think, all in all, when you look at the accolades that he has, he's a Super Bowl champion, so you know he has championship winning experience, which if you really look at it, most of the guys on this defense do not have now. And that's something that will become very handy. When you could put, and then obviously, I know Brian Flores is an assistant linebackers coach or whatever, but you know he's going to have a big part of that defense. When you pair him up, Mike Tomlin, which we all know Mike Tomlin, he was a defensive backs coach before his tenure in Pittsburgh, so you know he's very smart with that. You bring everyone else together, why the hell not? Bobby got hella overpaid. Yeah, he got, what, 5 for 50, and with like 65 it could be in total. I think the first 2 years, I could see that contract being good. Now it's going to be more of what happens in the later stages. And also, we got to remember, too, when it comes to contracts now, the way that things go, I mean, we'll see. Bobby Wagner is one of the smartest players in the NFL. Bobby Wagner, if he would have ended up, which we all knew he wasn't going to end up in Pittsburgh, but especially now with the signing of Miles Jack, but if you were laying him in Pittsburgh, we would have been screaming our asses off in pure excitement because, again, championship experience, and he is very, very smart. I do like that pickup, though, for LA. As much as, and I'll say this, I'm actually happy that the LA Rams won the Super Bowl, not just because of the Bengals they were playing, or the Bengals were playing in that game too, because God forbid, I hate the Bengals. For those that don't know, well, now you do. You have, but I was just happy about Matthew Stafford and Odell. There was just a certain player, Aaron Donald. I was happy about them getting the Super Bowl, but I do like that pickup for them. But yeah, for me, I would love it. But I'm not so hell-bent on I'm going to be so pissed and I'm going to pound the table if we don't get Tyrann Mathieu. That's not going to happen. Again, we'll see. And we'll see. We'll see just how. And it also depends on what kind of contract he gets. It also, again, goes back to maybe how does he feel? Does he want to be in Pittsburgh? I mean, we do have a winning reputation. That is one thing that we do have. And that's something that I have heard from other markets where it's like, are we a Super Bowl contender this year? Not really. As much as we all want to think we are, we're really not. As much as we want to be, right at this moment, I don't think so. But you never know. Mike Tomlin is one of the winningest head coaches. Obviously, this defense, when healthy and when everyone is available, my God, we've seen what this defense can do over the last few years prior to 2021. This defense can be great. And if you could add more talent to that, sign me up all damn day long. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, Pat Pete re-signed with the Vikings on a one-year deal. That's cool. That's going to be interesting to see what happens with them in the draft now because I had them going corner in the draft, but we'll see what happens with that. But we're not talking Vikings here. We're talking Pittsburgh Steelers here. You know what? I actually want to talk about real quick before we continue on, and I'll talk about the Steelers draft here in a little bit. Possibly why they should maybe trade up in the draft. I do want to talk about a comment, and here I'll put it up here. A comment that was made by Ravens owner Steve Bisciotti on the Deshaun Watson contract. We're getting all over the AFC North here pretty much. I'll show it to you real quick here. And this was a quote from Ravens owner Steve Bisciotti on the Deshaun Watson's $230 million fully guaranteed deal. And I'll explain why we are talking about this. I don't know that he should have been the first guy to get a fully guaranteed contract. Back to full screen. Why is that interesting? Why are we talking about this? Here's a reason why we have to talk about this. And why this could affect the Steelers not only within the near future, but down the future as well. Obviously, we know Deshaun Watson, he has all the allegations in the world. We'll see what happens. We'll see how many games he's going to be suspended. And again, talk about the Browns. We'll talk about how the Steelers QB room might be better than the Browns with Deshaun Watson. We'll explain to that in a little bit. But to me, the way I look at it is eventually, all right, real quick, we need a big secondary mentor. Two of them are amazing, Fitzmagic and the Honey Badger. That's a deadly secondary mentor. Listen, that would be absolutely phenomenal. Again, like you said, what I said earlier, intelligence, Super Bowl winning talent, Super Bowl winning knowledge. You need that. You can never have too much talent on a defense, and my God, that's something that that would be probably the last. That would be the last thing that the Steelers would do in the in free agency this year. But and I would love, and that would be an amazing free agency for the Steelers. I would absolutely love it, and I know a lot of Steelers fans will love it as well. But back to Steve Piscotty and his comments. Eventually, we were going to get to a point where a quarterback was going to get, and we all knew it was going to be a quarterback that was going to get a fully guaranteed contract of this magnitude. I know that Kirk Cousins a few years ago, 2018, if I'm not mistaken, 2017, 2018, got that 3-year, $84 million deal that was fully guaranteed. But it's $84 million for 3 years. That's not that much, especially compared to now. $230 million fully guaranteed is a lot of money. Because if you look at it, that's $46 million per year. Now, I know there's ways to finagle the cap space, and one thing, too, that I will say, I see a lot of people shitting on the Browns for how they handle that, doing the way that they handle that with the cap space and all that. Whatever. I think it's smart. I mean, I'll just say, I think it's smart as hell. It's a way to maximize you getting all of the talent that you can get. But that's about enough praising the Browns for that, because the hell with them. Eventually it was going to happen. Eventually, and the reason why, I can understand his comment on why it's him, especially with the allegations that are going on. Hey, yeah, I know you have 22 allegations of sexual misconduct, but yeah, we'll give you $230 million fully guaranteed. Bring on the Brinks trucks. Bring on 4 of them. Bring on 10 of them. Here you go. Here's your bank account that's fatter than my gut. Here we go. But it was going to happen eventually. And for me, the reason why we have to look at this and the reason why we have to discuss this is because of the fact that now you look at what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is going to be up for a contract very, very soon. Now, I know Lamar Jackson did not have the greatest of years last year. As much as I hate Baltimore, but I respect Baltimore. I'll say that. I respect Baltimore as a franchise and how they've done things because they've been a consistent winner as well. For me, yes, again, Lamar Jackson did not have the greatest of years last year, but you know that he is still a threat. You know, running the football and the things that he's able to do with his legs are absolutely insane. And we've seen that, and that's brought him an MVP. Now, when you look at another quarterback in the AFC North, and Joe Burrow, who was it that now that's a quarterback I could very well have seen gotten the first fully guaranteed contract based on what he's done so far and what we are projecting that he's going to do down the line. You know, in his first year that he was able to play a full season, takes them to a Super Bowl. So now you have that already in your resume under your belt. We'll see what happens over the next few years. They went out and actually spent some money. I like what Baltimore or what Cincinnati has done. I think they really went out and filled needs that they had on the offensive line. That was something that they really needed to do. And that's exactly what they did. So, at the end of the day, it was going to happen eventually. It was just going to be a matter of who. That player ended up being Deshaun Watson. And now when you're looking at things, now look at what Kyler Murray and his agent are discussing. Again, Lamar Jackson and his non-having agent self, who I believe his mother's, really helping out with that. And I know he's also getting help through the NFLPA as well. Baltimore is more of a family rivalry. Browns is like the John Wick rivalry. Yeah, for me, I don't like Baltimore at all, but I have respect for them. And I don't know if it's the same, if it's reciprocated the same way, but I know especially every game is typically close with Baltimore and Pittsburgh, and so that's how I personally feel about it. Now, me being from the Cleveland area, I have to deal with Browns fans all the damn time, and obviously for most of my life, or basically all my life, I've had the fun part of that side, even though even though the hypocrisy has come because they like to say, "Oh, we bring up old stuff," but yet again, they still bring up one game where they did beat us. Cool, great, that's your Super Bowl, and then what happened the next year? Well, you got beat by a 39-year-old Ben Roethlisberger, who probably should have been in a wheelchair. But yeah, it's just a matter of who is going to be. It ended up being Watson. And the way that I look at it is, okay, well now, what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson? All in all, do I think that Lamar Jackson will stay in Baltimore? Yes. You don't let that kind of player go, especially. But it's going to be a matter of how much money is he going to eventually get. Because obviously now his value is a little bit down compared to how it was at the end of 2020, especially at 2019. But in 2019, he was eligible for a contract, if I'm not yet. So you have that going for you. But then you look at some of the other contracts that have gone on in the NFL in terms of quarterbacks and guarantees. We look at Patrick Mahomes, and obviously we see $500 million. Like, holy shit, 10 years, $500 million. Goddamn, that's a lot of money. But you look at the fully guarantees, not all that's fully guaranteed. Josh Allen, we see 5 years, however, 200 something that he got, not all that's fully guaranteed. So now this is really going to affect how quarterback contracts are made, because now players who are going to be up for those kind of contracts are going to be able to point and say, hey, look at this guy. Look at number 4 in Cleveland, where, hey, you see what happened with him. He got fully guaranteed $230 million. My God, my sinuses are really acting up today. But you get $230 million from him, and I've been a law-abiding citizen. I'm not, especially if you're Joe Burrow. You talking to his agent. Oh yeah, hey, I know I have to play now 2 times a year, but thank you very much, Deshaun Watson, because now that's really going to help me in my contract situation. At the end of the day, and we'll see what happens with a quarterback that's going to come in the future for the Steelers. Now, because Mitch Trubisky's here, do I think he'll be here more than 2 years? Highly doubt it. Unless he just goes out there and absolutely balls out like no tomorrow and just starts playing at an MVP level, which I don't think is going to happen. But we'll see what happens with that. We'll see. In terms of, should the Steelers trade up in the draft for a quarterback? For me, the way I look at it, and something that I've been hearing over the course of a little bit now, is now real quick, give me 1 second. I just saw a text that was interesting. Okay, no, it was none. But in terms of should the Steelers trade up in the draft, if you truly believe that your franchise quarterback is in this draft class, whether they believe it's a Malik Willis, whether they believe it is a Kenny Pickett, whether they believe it is a Matt Corral, whether they believe it's a Desmond Ridder, which I don't think he'll end up falling that far, but I mean, if he's that guy, and you truly feel like, hey, you're going to have to trade up, well, damn it, you do what you have to do. Do an uncharacteristic move once again and trade up to get your guy. And obviously, we are 4 weeks out of the NFL draft. From here on out, we're going to be, there's going to be a whole lot of draft talk, especially the week before. Just so you guys know, week before the NFL draft, we'll be doing our second mock draft show. Now, whether Caleb will be here or not for that show, we'll have to see, because that's during finals week and all that in college. So we'll see. Obviously, finals are a whole lot more important right now. But we'll see. But we'll make sure to get that out for you. And if that ends up just turning into a regular video, we'll just do that. But, we're going to do a whole lot of draft talk. And for me, again, you look at the draft here. We look at the teams that could possibly legitimately go for a quarterback here. Do I think that Detroit's going to go after a quarterback in the second pick? No. I think it'd be more realistic that they would go with the 32nd pick. Houston. Do I think so? No, but it's a possibility. The Jets at 4? No. The Giants at 5 or 7? No, but it's an intriguing topic on how they truly feel about Daniel Jones. Are they willing to really give him one more shot? Or are they in the possibility of moving on, or in the process of moving on from him? We'll see. I think I'm keeping those two picks in the back of my pocket in terms of real wild card or a long shot possibility. 6 at Carolina, very well could be. I actually would be maybe somewhat surprised if they didn't, unless they're truly going to give Sam Darnold one last shot to really prove that he can be the guy. Even though last year, I thought it was more of a one and done, you really have 1 year to prove it, or else, shit's just going to hit the fan for you. We talked about the Giants at 7. Atlanta at 8. Again, it's a long shot, but I don't think so. They went inside Mariota. I think they're going to go and try to get him a receiver there. Number 9, Seattle. Possibly. Very well could be. Depends on how they feel about Drew Lock. Again, is there the possibility that a Baker Mayfield trade could happen where he could end up in Seattle? Maybe. Do I think Jimmy Garoppolo, I highly doubt will be there because they're going to trade within division and quarterback there. But it would be interesting to see, but they're a possibility. The Jets at 10, again, no. Washington, no. I don't think so now. Minnesota at 12, no. I don't know why I did that for a second. 13, Houston, no. I don't think they're at 13. Who's number 14? Baltimore. Baltimore, no. Philly, 15, 16, and 19, no. LA, no. 18, the Saints. Slight chance, maybe. I don't know. And then obviously now you get Pittsburgh at 20. So you look at that. Out of those teams, there's really one team that you really feel like, okay, they're most likely going for a quarterback before pick 20, and that's Carolina at pick 6. Now, do you feel that, hey, now obviously I haven't had any discussions with anyone. I know a lot of, when you look at, all these other, McShay and Kuiper know that they have connections, and Matt Miller and everyone else, Chris Sims and all that, they all have to, they have connections to everyone where they could talk to everyone else. It's a very interesting case here. And if you look at the philosophy on this, do you say, hey, I'm going to trade up because I want to guarantee my shot at the quarterback that I want? Or do you have the philosophy of how Washington handled in 2019? If you remember that draft where they were, I think, pick 15, if I'm not mistaken, and they let the draft fall to them. Because there was a very good possibility they could have traded up to get the quarterback who was ending up being Dwayne Haskins there. Now, who's now a Pittsburgh Steeler and did not work out in Washington. But they let the draft fall to them, and it worked out to their favor because they didn't have to give up any extra draft capital for that. It's an interesting discussion. And, again, we'll have to see how things play out. We'll see, we hear more rumblings, especially as we get closer to the drafts. Typically how it goes, we'll hear more rumblings on what team is interested in who, and just everything's good. And here's the thing, too. Excuse me. If you're a team that is looking if you're a team that does not want a quarterback, you're praying to the Lord above that you could have 3 quarterbacks go in a certain time, because now that means a better shot of a better player coming to you in terms of a position of need. But yeah, for me, this would be very interesting to see. And again, we'll have another mock draft show. Obviously, if anything crazy goes on, might make a video about it depending on when things happen, because my God, basically every time something big happens, I'm always in the middle of doing something when I'm not here, when I'm able to record a video. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm very excited for this draft. Again, I love the anticipation of not knowing really who the hell. I mean, for the most part, it's really starting to seem like Ada Hutchinson is going to go number 1, but we'll see what Jacksonville is going to do, and that's what makes this draft fun. I like not knowing where the hell anything's going to go. It's going to make us all want to pull our hair out, and you'll get to see that live as here on the channel and everywhere else, Facebook. We're going to be having it everywhere. We will be broadcasting live for the NFL draft. This will be my 4th year doing this. It's an absolute blast. I love doing the draft coverage show. So you'll definitely want to be there. Be the first time here on YouTube. I'm hoping it's going to bang. Which we'll see. I have a feeling it might do pretty well. We'll see, but I'm very, very, very excited for that. And you'll get to see that live. You'll get to see my live reaction, my live raw reaction to the Steelers drafting. Who the hell we're going to take, we'll see. I'm very excited for that, and I cannot wait. So again, was it the 28th? April 28th, we'll be live here for the NFL draft. Don't want to miss it. Be here. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when we go live then, when we go live here on the Renegade Roundtable podcast, and when we post other reaction videos and other videos of sort. I do want to get into one little topic before we get out of here. Like I said, I wasn't going to guarantee this was going to be a full hour show. I do have my man Caleb with me to talk about the Brian Reynolds stuff that's going on because, I'll be honest, I'm not all that intapped when it comes to the Pirates. I am, real quick, I'll show you. Yeah. I'm not as intapped on that. I sure as hell hope that Brian Reynolds stays in Pittsburgh just for the simple fact that I actually do like Brian Reynolds. And it's an interesting discussion to have on whether you should trade him or not. Well, might as well. I'll talk about for a second on what on what I do know. Just in terms of the Pirates and stuff, because I'm learning the Pirates way. And again, I can learn it from experience. Again, I've always grown up a Indians, now Guardians fan, so I completely can understand everything that goes on in terms of a cheap owner, because similar to the Dolan family with Cleveland, we all know that Bob Nutting is an absolute poor man crying help, apparently. And it's an interesting discussion, and I've heard multiple sides on, obviously it's the same cycle again on whether you should trade, you get a guy, who's doing good, he's at high, and then they trade him for prospects for the future. And again, we've seen it, I saw this time and time again in Cleveland, we saw that with Francisco Lindor, and except they butchered that like hell, it seems. But, we're not talking Guardians, we're talking Pirates here. I would be interested to see the kind of package that you could bring in if you were to trade him, because I do know you do need pitching. That's something that you're always going to need, and we'll see. Again, I like Brian Reynolds. He's one of the few players that I really he's my favorite player right now on the Pirates. I would hate to see him go right when I'm in the middle of trying to learn everything when it comes to the Pirates, but I also understand the philosophy of trading him. Especially now, trade him at his highest. Trade him when you could get some pieces, when his value is at his highest. You could get the most back for him, especially knowing that you're not going to compete this year. You're not really going to compete next year either. You're really looking at 2024 as being the first year that you most likely will, minimum, 2024 is when you'll have a chance to maybe start contending, with everyone in the farm system as well. But that's my little tidbit on the Pirates and everything that I know, because I really don't know much. But one thing I do want to discuss before we get the hell out of here is, and I put this on the Renegade Roundtable Twitter at Renegade_table. Make sure you go follow us. I put on there, Steelers QB situation better than Cleveland. Now, I can understand why that would obviously trigger some people because, well, yes. Do I like to troll? Yes. That is something I've become known for and I like to do. But in this situation, it's an interesting discussion that I saw earlier in the week by AJ Filipponi. Sometimes I do think he's an asshat, but sometimes some of his takes are a little interesting. This one is a little interesting. Because if you look at it, yes, they do have Deshaun Watson. The Browns do have Deshaun Watson. Is he going to play week 1? We shall see. We saw what happened. Oh, I forgot too. I got to get to the overtime rule. I completely forgot about the overtime rule. My God. So we do have one more topic we'll get into before we get the hell out of here. We'll talk about the overtime rule. I'm happy I thought about that. We heard the comments about Roger Goodell. I had a theory saying that he could end up on a commissioner's exempt list at first if the civil suits were filed or weren't completed before like August or something. Well, he pretty much shot that down. Roger Goodell did in his press conference earlier in the week at the owners' meeting. But for me, it's interesting because now you have Jacoby Brissett, which Jacoby Brissett he's a fine backup, but you're going to need him to play. If he gets suspended 8 games, you're going to need him to play 8 games. And he does not have a great record. In fact, we're going to look that up right now. I'm going to Jacoby Brissett stats. We'll pull up Pro Football Reference. Thank you very much. So in his career, he is 14-23, so 9 games under 500. Has a career 60% completion percentage, 36 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. All right, so that's not a bad ratio. But he has not done much. He is not. I'm not scared, and neither should anyone else really be scared of Jacoby Brissett. And that brings up the discussion of, okay, you have Deshaun Watson, but you don't know how many games he's going to play or when he's going to get suspended or any of that. Versus, if you look at Pittsburgh, you have Deshaun. Deshaun is going to play the whole season. I'm not worried at all. There was a lawyer on the radio saying that he's been doing the civil cases for 2 years now. I mean, hey, what's up, Justin? Browns fans here, so now we get a perspective on that. My thing is on Deshaun Watson, and yes, now civil suits take a long time to handle, especially because of the fact that he's not settling. As you and me have discussed before in person, he's not settling. He is going to fight every damn case. And 22 of them bitches is a long time. It's going to take a little bit of time. And it's going to be interesting. Now, if the suits are not finished yet, and could they possibly start week 1? Yeah, there's a possibility. But then it's going to be a matter of when the civil suits are done, whether he is found liable or not. Then, now, because if he is not liable on anything, well, then obviously I could still see the NFL giving him a suspension just because of the personal the personal conduct policy or whatever the hell he calls it. It could be interesting to see there because obviously he put the NFL in a bad rap. Well, especially if he is found liable. Well, obviously, yeah, he's going to get fined or he's going to get suspended for that. But I mean, it's interesting to see. And are you talking about Amy Dash? Is that who you're talking about, Justin, on the radio? Because I know Amy Dash does a lot of stuff for ESPN. She's like their lawyer consultant or whatever the hell she is. She is a good person. I like hearing her stuff, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But right now, that quarterback room is a little bit more unstable right at this very moment without knowing what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson versus we pretty much know in Pittsburgh it's going to be Mitchell Trubisky to start out. And that's what I like about this draft class, too, in terms of he doesn't have to, whoever set quarterback that you're going to draft, if that's the route you want to go, you don't have to start them right away. Because a person in last year's draft who I think would have benefited a ton from sitting back would have been Zach Wilson. And Justin, you know very well, I'm not. You were high on Zach Wilson. I was not. And I'm better on record on that. If the civil cases go in his way, which will the NFL can suspend him because in that case he wouldn't have broken the NFL's personal conduct policy, I'm getting Watson's jersey tomorrow. Well, I know you were getting his Watson jersey. I know you were telling me about that. But the reason why... Now, and here's the thing, too. And here's the reason why I think he could get suspended as well. Ezekiel Elliott had a situation, sexual whatever, was not criminally charged and had his civil suits, still got 6 games. Ben Roethlisberger, now he's settled, but was not criminally charged, 6 games. Now, if you're a Browns fan, in your case, you're hoping that's not the case because obviously we all know Deshaun Watson. Obviously, I admitted it in a reaction video that I did, which has actually done pretty well, so thank you everyone for that. It's very interesting because now we all know he's an elite quarterback. I hate admitting it because he's a Brown, but I mean, he is an elite quarterback, and you want to have that if you're the Browns. But we'll just have to see how things go. Right now, it is March 31st. The season, really to worry about is August. When, late July into August when training camp and preseason games start. That's when all of that's going to go into place. One last topic before we get into, unless you guys got anything else you want to discuss, before we get the hell out of here, is the new overtime rule. Now, I completely forgot about this until a little bit ago, and I wanted to talk about this. Even if he does get suspended, is not too worried about it. He was brought here to be here for the rest of his career, not just this year. Oh yeah, I understand that. Obviously, if he gets suspended, you have him for. That's why you wanted him for 5 more years, so you have him, and you're hoping that he is going to be your quarterback for the rest of his career for the next 10, 15 years, or however long he's going to be here. But one last thing, I want to talk about the overtime rule. For me, the overtime rule, I like that they're finally changing it. What's up, Marcus? How you doing today? It's been a little bit since you've been in the chat. What's up? How you doing? But in terms of the overtime rule, I like that they're finally... It's a change that needed to be made. I don't necessarily like the fact that it's just postseason, because I think this is something that... Well, actually, that both teams... Okay, in terms of, whatever. Regular season, I would like to see my team get a shot, but it is what it is. I wish they would have more worried about, ties, because God forbid, why the hell in professional football is there a damn tie? You don't see ties in baseball. You don't see ties in basketball. You don't see ties in hockey, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you can see ties in hockey. But you don't see ties in baseball. You don't see ties in basketball. Why the hell you don't see ties in college football? Why the hell are there ties in the National Football League? That's just ridiculous. But I see, and this is similar to what happened in 2019 after the challenging of pass interference. That rule got changed because everyone bitched and complained about the Saints and Rams game, which. Again, Saints had a chance to score. Saints had a chance to do something and they didn't. So I don't give them any remorse on that. But, and yes, you could say, just stop them, play defense, stop them. First off, it's easier said than done. And B, I like that they're finally changing it. It needed to be changed because now it gives both sides a chance. But why are you doing it just in the postseason? Why? Why is this not something you put in the regular season too? That's just something I don't get. Let me know down below. I'll give you guys a minute or so to give your opinions on that before we get out of here. Like I said, I knew we were going to end a little bit earlier. But like I said, in the meantime, I do want to say thank you, everyone, for subscribing. Anyone who's been subscribed for a while, I say thank you so much. It's an absolute blast. I love doing this. And again, if you haven't yet, hit the notification bell so you know when we post videos or when we go live like this or when we do other gaming stuff. I need to get back into maybe doing some gaming stuff as well. But yeah, because we're hoping to get a whole lot more content here on the channel. I'd like to try to do an upload streak for the month of April. We'll see if I'm able to hold up on that, because that's something I would like to do, is try to get a little bit more consistent on the channel, because I know for a little bit I've been kind of inconsistent on uploading. But I do think we're going to end it off here, unless you guys got something else you want to discuss, or if you guys got any comments on that. But in the meantime, I do want to say thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, everyone, for subscribing again. Thank you for supporting. If you have yet, right here, if you have yet, go and follow me at Jeff_Kirby99 on Twitter. And that's also the same thing for my Instagram as well. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can. But till then, I hope to see you in the next video or the next live stream. And until then, if you haven't yet, make a like, comment, subscribe, all that. You know all that already. I've told you that a billion times. And until then, I hope to see you. Stay safe. And peace out.